week 3 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I look to sell and trade this week. The first guy, Brandon Nimmo of the New York Mets. So Brandon Nimmo got that 8-year contract with the New York Mets to re-sign in the offseason, and so far he's off to a good start, but he's a guy, in my opinion, that he doesn't do a lot of great things for fantasy baseball. I know on-base percentage and runs scored he'll help you win, but he don't really drive in a lot of runs, obviously batting leadoff in this New York Met lineup, but he's not much of a stolen base guy, even though so far this season he's matched what he did last season on stolen bases. On the year here for Nimmo, 54 at-bats, 10 runs scored, no home runs, 8 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, a .315 batting average, and a .472 on base. So right now, no doubt about it, Nimmo's going out there, and he's getting on base at a crazy clip, almost 50% of the time. And obviously, that's not going to stay strong. Last season, he hit in the 270s with Nimmo. And right now, well, he's on a tear in the early go in the first few weeks of the season. I would sell him high because this Met offense isn't that great. They're not driving in a lot of runs. I know they had a couple monster ball games here and there, but overall, this is one of the worst hitting teams in batting average in the league. So the games here for Nimmo are April 12th versus the Padres, 3 for 5, 2 RBIs. April 14th at the A's, 2 for 4, 3 runs, 2 RBIs. April 15th at Oakland, 2 for 4, an RBI. April 16th at Oakland, 1 for 4. And April 17th at the Dodgers, 3 for 5, a run in that ball game. So right now, while he's playing great, he's Brandon Nimmo, and he's getting on base and scoring runs. This is a perfect time to sell him high because he doesn't give you enough power in RBIs. And even the batting average, when it's all said and done this season, I don't think it'll be that great. So I would sell him high this week. The next guy, Nico Horner of the Chicago Cubs. So Nico Horner came on the scene last season and was solid towards the end of the year for fantasy baseball with 20 stolen bases, 280 average, and 10 home runs. And so far this season, he's tearing things up here. Is Nico Horner. 65 at-bats, 16 runs scored already, 4 RBIs, already 9 stolen bases, where he easily could steal 40 bases if he stays on this pace. 338 average and a 394 on base. So right now he's obviously ranked high with a great batting average and a lot of stolen bases and runs scored, but he's not going to bring power. He's not going to drive in a lot of runs. And even his on base, I don't think is going to stay way up there this season. So right now, Horner, he's on a hot streak, no doubt about it. And he's stealing bases left and right, but I think things will calm down for him in every other category where he's off to a good start besides the stolen bases. So right now, no doubt, he could be a stolen base specialist, but I think he's a little bit overrated for fantasy if that's all he's going to really do. April 14th at the Dodgers, 1 for 4, run 2 stolen bases. April 15th at the Dodgers, 0 for 3, a stolen base. April 16th at the Dodgers, 2 for 4. April 17th at the Oakland A's, 2 for 5, 3 runs scored, an RBI, and a stolen base. And then April 18th at Oakland, in that one, 2 for 4. So right now, Horner playing great baseball, getting the runs and stealing bases, but I don't think he's going to have that high batting average and on-base percentage as the season goes on. So right now, if you could pretty much sell a stolen base, run-scoring guy for a big bat or a good starting pitcher, this is a perfect time to do it, and I think that's a slam dunk type of deal to make if you're a Horner owner. The next guy is Jorge Mateo of the Baltimore Orioles. So Mateo, he's off to a red-hot start in the early going this year with this Baltimore team. 43 at-bats, 13 runs scored, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, 8 stolen bases, a 372 average, and a 431 on base. So last season, 35 stolen bases for Mateo, and he only hit 220. So last season, he obviously had fantasy value, but this year he's off to a monster start, like I said, and he's ranked 4th right now in fantasy leagues here is Jorge Mateo, but obviously I don't see this keeping up, hitting in the 370s. Obviously the stolen bases are legit, where he could steal 40, 45 stolen bases for sure here, but the on-base batting average is going to drop. The power, I think, probably 15, 20 home run range, we could see Jorge Mateo. And right now, while he's just on a tear, it's a perfect time to sell him high. April 13th at Oakland, 0 for 3, 2 RBIs, a stolen base. April 14th at the White Sox, 1 for 1, 2 runs scored, an RBI. April 15th at the White Sox, 3 for 4, homer, 2 RBIs in that one. April 16th at the White Sox, 2 for 3, a run, RBI, a stolen base. And April 18th at Washington, 1 for 3. So right now, playing great baseball is Jorge Mateo, ranked number 4 in fantasy baseball. And he's another guy. I wouldn't be surprised to me if you could get a decent bat and maybe a closer in a deal for him. So if that type of deal's out there, even though it could be far-fetched a little bit, even though, like I said, he's tearing the league up, so far is Jorge Mateo. This would be a time to sell him high. The next guy I look to sell and trade this week here, Lowe with the Tampa Bay Rays. So Josh Lowe last season, it wasn't a good year at all for him, and he got sent down to the minors early in the year. But so far this year, he's on a tear as well. 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, 9 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, 372 batting average, and a 413 on base. So right now, Josh Lowe playing good baseball. But the thing here with him, he don't verse a lot of lefties, is Josh Lowe. They sit him out. So right now, the last few games, he's been on a tear, no doubt about it. April 13th versus Boston, 0-3 with a run. April 14th at Toronto, 1-4 with a homer. April 15th at Toronto, 1-1. April 16th at the Jays, 2-5, a run, 3 RBIs, a stolen base. And April 17th at the Reds, 2-4 with a homer, and he sat out April 18th game at the Reds. So like I said, he's not versing lefties in the lineup, is Josh Lowe. He's off to a hot start, but that definitely breaks up momentum if you're not in the lineup 5-6 times a week. So if you could pick up a guy, like I said, Josh Lowe off the wire, where he's still out there in 54% of fantasy leagues, and flip him in a trade for a starting pitcher who's pretty solid, why wouldn't you do it? So right now, while he's playing good baseball, this is a definite time to sell him high. In the 5th and final hitter I look to sell and trade this week, he is Cody Bellinger. The Chicago Cubs said Bellinger, maybe he did need a change of scenery from the Dodgers, even though he had a monster year a few years ago and obviously won the MVP. But so far this season with his new team, he's off to a very nice start. 58 at-bats, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, 11 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, a 310 average, and a 369 on base. So right now, I noticed Cody Bellinger is definitely cut back on the strikeouts. Only 9 Ks and 58 at-bats, where last season he struck out 150 times. So right now, driving in runs is Bellinger, stealing some bases, and the batting average is definitely a big thing here. Last season only batting .210, and the year before that he was down there in the doldrums as well. So right now, while he's playing great baseball and coming off a 5-for-5 game, he's a perfect sell-high candidate, is Cody Bellinger. April 12th versus the Mariners, 2-for-3, a homer, 2 RBIs. April 14th at the Dodgers, 1-for-4 with a run. April 15th at the Dodgers, 1-for-3 with a bag. April 16th at the Dodgers, 1-for-4, a homer. In that one, an RBI, a stolen base, 2 runs scored. And April 17th at the A's, 5-for-5 in that one with a run. So right now, like I said, that 5-for-5 game, just off of that, you could sell Bellinger high. We know he hasn't been a batting average guy over the last few seasons. But one thing I will say, he's worked on his swing mechanics, changed things up, and his strikeouts are down, but I still would sell him high. So that's a few hitters I look to sell and trade here in week 3 of the fantasy baseball season.